everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video, I'll be doing a small little book unhaul. So as you can see, these are my new shelves. I don't know if this video is going to be up before or after you kind of see the assembly of these, but we have built-in bookshelves that we got recently installed. And so when I was finally putting all my books in one place for the first time in many years, I was kind of going through books that I just no longer wanted to kind of hold on to. So I kind of have like a small little stack here of books that I will be unhauling. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, these were two books that were on my TBR, and I did have plans to read this, but then I realized that this author doesn't use quotation marks with conversations between characters. If you hear movement, Willow is like directly underneath me and she's just stretching. Good girl. She's got a hard life. But that is just a style that I just don't like. I know like The Handmaid's Tale did it and I did that. There's one other book that was like that, and I just find it like too challenging. And when I'm reading a book, I don't want to be like, I do want to be like critically thinking, but I don't like looking at like syntax type things. So I first have like Normal People and Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. So this is more like a stylistic thing for me in particular. So it's just not my favorite. So I don't know if the audiobooks would be better for me or not, but it's just a style that I am not a fan of. Next, this was a book that was a major disappointment for me, and it is Graveyard Shift by ML Rio. Sorry, I don't even know if Willow's in frame, so she's right here. She loves attention. But I was really excited for this because I really loved If We Were Villains, so I had really high expectations for this novella that came out last October, and I was just very disappointed. I was very underwhelmed. I felt like there wasn't a lot of I felt like there could be 50 pages added to this. It just ended so abruptly. I felt like because it bounced around from different characters, you really couldn't get a good feel for them, and I was just really underwhelmed because I really loved If We Were Villains, but this one just didn't live up to the expectations, and it was a very big disappointment. Actually, one of the worst books I read actually in 2024, so I'd rather give this to someone else who may enjoy it more than me. So this is a book that is probably the most confusing book, one of the most confusing books I've ever read, and it is The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. This was a book that was recommended to me by my fiance, now husband, and I read this last year or the year before, and it was very confusing. So this kind of takes place in this fantastical world where we follow this girl who's trying to kind of con her way into one of like the elite families, saying that she's kind of a long lost cousin, and little does she know that this family doesn't really have a lot of money. And then while this is going on, there's kind of this Robin Hood type figure that is kind of helping kind of the poor people, and it kind of goes from there. There's like a weird magical system, but this book was incredibly confusing. I don't really remember too much about it, but I just remember being thoroughly confused. You're kind of just thrown in, and there's like this underlying language or like terminology that is used in this world, but you can't really figure out what these words mean even with the context of the sentence. So that was very confusing, and I remember the writing was just so I couldn't comprehend it, to the point where a major character dies and I had no idea that happened until several pages after the fact. That's how confusing the writing was. And this is the first book in the series. I know my husband said he really enjoyed it, but he's into more of these types of like sci-fi and fantasy, but this one I just don't think was for me. So I'm going to give this to a better home. So this is a series that I read a long time ago, and it was just never one that stuck with me, and I thought it was just, fine, middle of the road when I read it at the time, and I'm like, there's no point for me holding on to these where I don't have that fun memory of reading it or really being enjoying it when I read it. And it is like The Winner's Curse Trilogy by Rutkoski. Again, I don't know how this book has survived this long on my shelves, but I guess it was when I was living at my parents. It was upstairs, so in my brother's bedroom, so I think that's why I kind of forgot about it. So yeah, these ones I don't even remember too much about it. I think there was like a slave or something. That is Willow. Willow, don't pull on the carpet. Willow, good girl. She just, everything is in her mouth right now. But I just don't remember too much about this trilogy. Willow, you're okay. Good girl. And I Really don't want to hold on to these anymore. So this one has been on my TBR for a while, and it's just one I've heard really mixed things about, and it is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. And this is one that, I don't know, I've just heard really mixed things about it. I've heard people say, you know, I'm someone who's really into like really well written like thrillers or mysteries, and this is one that, you know, I've heard really mixed things about. So because of this, and because I haven't really gravitated towards wanting to even read this, then I've just been like, you know what, I'd rather give this to a home. This is one I got at Half Price Books actually, so it is like a full circle moment, so it's going right back there again. But this is just one, I know there's a TV show of it too, so if I were interested in this, I think I'd probably watch the TV show over this book. So lastly, this is a book that I have double of, and I really enjoy this book, but it's one that I got as a Christmas gift, and I already own it. I'm going to say it's over here. I don't know if that's in frame, but it's right here. And I don't need 2 copies of this book, and it is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by Schwab. Like I said, I really enjoyed this book. I just have 2 copies, so I got this for Christmas last year, and it was a book that I already had, so like I said, I don't really need to hold on to 2 copies of this one, so hence why this is also going to Half Price Books. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of the books that you will be unhauling soon and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.